Hello, my name is Damian Graham. I'm the Communications Director for the City of Raleigh, and I'm joined by, of course, Mayor Nancy McFarland.
Hi.
And this is A Few Minutes with the Mayor. We are shooting today from beautiful Lake Johnson, which is in the western part of Raleigh, where they feature paddle boards and boats and all kinds of things that we will not be doing on this show, but it's a wonderful place. Please come and visit. So Mayor, there's been a lot of activity recently. Specifically just yesterday, the council voted to move forward with a master plan for the new Civic Campus.
Right.
Let me start with, I think we've talked about Civic Campus on the show, but just to reiterate, what is the concept and what are we talking about here?
Well, right now the city is not only in the building that people think of as the city hall or where city council chambers is, but we're actually occupy multiple buildings. We own some, we lease some, and so what we did was we looked at our projected growth and what we're going to need, and it really turns out if we don't do anything, it's going to cost us more than if we build a new building. We'll be able to sell some properties we have. We'll be able to stop paying rent on some properties we have, which will also free space for new businesses to come downtown. But also the thing that you can't really put a price on is having everyone in one space, because anybody that's come down that has an issue and might be working with planning and then has to talk to, development services, or maybe has to talk to the attorney's office, you spend so much time running from building to building to building, as does staff.
Right.
So it's not only going to be the best fiscal thing, but also the economy of scale is going to help the city too.
And just in case folks who are watching have never been to the Raleigh Municipal Building, it's not a formal city hall, but it acts as one.
Right.
And it's right in front of Nash Square, so the city has a couple of key parks. And so this is what we're talking about, is replacing some of those buildings with a new vision.
We own that whole block, and the building we're in now is called the Raleigh Municipal Building. The building next to us is the old police station, and that's been vacant for years, a few years. So the plan is to tear that down and build a 20-story building. That will, and we'll have, activate the first floor, probably have some restaurants or cafes or something to bring people in. We're really excited about how it will engage Nash Square across the street, but that will also give us a few years to then decide what the next step is. We'll have the parcel next to that where we are now, but the whole back half of the block, we want to do a public-private partnership. I don't know if it'll be office or probably a mixed-use building, but that will also help us provide income that will help offset the cost of anything else that we do.
So the design and that kind of thing, there'll be great public engagement, I understand, in this process, and so stay tuned for what that looks like in the coming months.
The people that are working up the master plan now, part of what they're doing is devising the public engagement, and obviously employees, all the citizens that use all the services, and we're really looking forward to it.
So today's show, we're going to hop around a veritable potpourri of questions and topics. So let me just immediately pivot over to something that folks have perhaps seen if they've come downtown or gone to Cameron Village, or maybe even in their neighborhood, are these mechanized scooters. They're called bird scooters.
Oh, yeah.
And on a lot of people's minds, what is the city policy? Do we have a policy on these bird scooters?
Not yet.
And what is the issues behind the scooters?
Well, we don't have a policy yet because they just sort of suddenly appeared. Nobody knew they were coming. It was right after, right when the council was taking a break in the summer. So suddenly we had all these scooters all over everywhere, and nobody was really sure what the rules were. So when we came back, we did ask staff to look at other cities, see what they do. They're doing business in our right-of-way. Other people, whether it's a hot dog vendor, anybody has to get a permit and pay for that. So they need to do that too. How do we enforce the rules? When you put the app on your phone and hit accept, I'm sure everybody reads all those details. But it does say I won't ride on the sidewalk and I will wear a helmet. And I think our biggest concern is always safety. That's what we worry about. So, the pedestrians don't want them on the sidewalk, and the bikers don't want them in the bike lanes, and the cars don't want them in the car lanes. So we're just working, like I said, talking to other cities and talking to the bird scooter people about how are we going to set the rules around it, how are we going to enforce it, because frankly, our police department has a lot of things to do, and regulating a scooter might not be
top priority.
Well, I don't think the city should have to start spending our resources and money on policing something that they came into town and are making money on, and we haven't even had a say in it yet.
Right.
So those are all the things we're going to work out.
And so I believe staff is going to come back to council with
Yes.
some kind of proposal, either latter part of October, maybe beginning
Yes.
of November. All right. Well, so Mayor, I saw over there some nice rocking chairs. So
Oh,
I think
good.
maybe we'll take a quick pause and walk over there.
Sure.
What do you think?
Great. Thanks.
So Mayor, we've shot this in a number of different places. I have to say this is one of my more favorite,
This
specifically these rocking chairs.
These rocking chairs are awesome.
Are one of the best places we've filmed this show. This is the tail end technically of the summer. It still feels like summer. September is known in Raleigh as the month of events and festivals. We had some cancellations recently, but we still have some things to look forward to. Tell us about what's going on in September.
Well, of course, we have the Bluegrass Festival, which everybody's very excited about. That is really kind of starts all week. I mean, people start coming in early in the week. The awards ceremony is Thursday night. And then, of course, Friday and Saturday are all the tents, all the stages downtown, events at Red Hat Amphitheater, both nights. Incredible free music on the stages. Still one of my favorite things to do is to just listen to the spontaneous groups that pop up and jam. I know there's a jam floor on the Marriott, so if you're staying there, you might want to check you're not on a jam floor if you want to sleep. But yeah, it's very exciting, and people, there's a big clock ticking down, I think, on the Sir Walter. I think they're putting the banjo stand up. So that's always a big one. Yeah, we had a couple canceled, SparkCon in Dreamville, which was unfortunate, and I cannot remember the date off the top of my head, but I know that there's a big fall festival planned at Dix Park in October.
Okay.
So that's something else to look forward to.
Yeah, still plenty to look forward to. And so you referenced the cancellations, and that was because of Hurricane Florence, which just Raleigh got very, very, very lucky that we were not did not bear the brunt of that storm. But can you share with our viewers just some of the things that the city did in terms of preparation and what we're doing to be helpful in this time?
Right. Well, we were going on that first track when we started getting ready, which showed it coming ashore and coming straight through Raleigh. So we were incredibly prepared at the Emergency Operations Center, which we have. It has the ability for everyone to be in one space. So we have the 911, we have all the department heads, we have the city managers, we had IT and GIS, so they were able to map. They made a digital dashboard so everybody could see the emergency calls, non-emergency calls, how many had been answered. And we did things like we brought New Hanover very quickly. They realized that their 911 center was going to be out of commission by flooding. So we brought 19 of their 911 operators to Raleigh. We rerouted their system and we did all of their emergency call response from our emergency call center. So I was,
for several days. I mean, it
oh
wasn't just
yes,
one,
for a very long time, and so it's great that we have the capacity and the technology to be able to do that to help the rest of the state. Obviously, as we saw, even as it came in toward the end and then shifted, and we had flooding in Durham and Chapel Hill. I think people were really surprised by that, and it just does speak to how unpredictable these events are. So we were definitely on full alert till maybe Monday. I think we released the state of emergency.
Yeah.
But we're still, we worked with the county. Some of our employees went and worked in some of the county shelters because a lot of people came from the coast. We had a lot of people from Onslow County that came, and Wake County ended up opening more shelters than they had originally anticipated and needed staffing. So a bunch of our park staff went and worked the shelters for them. So we did a lot, and certainly there's been a huge outpouring of support and fundraising and all kinds of things from Raleigh to help the rest of the state as much as we can. And it kind of speaks to, well, it does speak to a lot of the things. I know Wilmington is struggling because their water system is on backup generators, but they have to be able to get gas.
Right.
And all the roads are flooded. And we've done a lot of things that people don't know. It's those not very sexy things you do in city government. Obviously, we have big generators on our main systems, but also throughout the city, we have pump stations that continue to force the water out. And we, a few years ago, put generators on all of those, permanent generators, rather than waiting for a storm and kind of, you know, doing it one at a time. So, you know, we were incredibly well prepared, and I was so impressed with how hard people were working 12-hour shifts, and it was manned all the time and very high alert. So.
It was 24 hours a day for several days in a row there, and we were about, I think, as prepared as a community could be. But then again, you never know. And Raleigh was very lucky. So
we had trees. You know, we had some trees down, and I have a friend that lost a car in her driveway. And I mean, there were things no loss of life, considering all the, you know, just horrible, sad stories we keep hearing. And you know, I think about cities like Lumberton, and just my heart breaks for them. And I think being a mayor, you also realize from a municipal standpoint, it's obviously it's everyone in their lives and their homes, and just that cleanup and everything, but then getting all those water systems and electric systems and all of those things back that people need to clean up their homes. So it's going to be many, many months for the state.
And I know that the city has deployed teams from our fire department to help with swiftwater rescue.
We sent some police to Wilmington for help. I mean, we are helping when people ask.
And even our public utilities is gone.
Right, that's right, that's right.
So wherever we can, we're trying to extend our services to our neighbors in need, and that's what we're called to do, I think. And as you mentioned, I think our community now takes over and look for ways to volunteer and to, if you're able to participate financially in some kind of fundraising. Well, this is again, a lovely, beautiful day here at Lake Johnson.
Can we do this all the time?
Yeah.
Except maybe not February.
That's right. Well, yes. But I always appreciate your time.
Sure.
You're very busy, and we thank you for watching the show.
Thanks.